Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM, brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we close out the final segment of this show. I said one time we'd close out the final segment and everybody thought I was quitting. No, I'm going to try to hang on to at least August when we hit 20 years on the air. Everything goes good here on ESPN 790. Hello to all you folks in Brownsville, Tennessee, on 1520 AM, 95.3 FM, and, of course, in Jackson on News Talk 101.5. And, Bill Cooksey, you living in Jackson, you're able to hear this show. And I told you earlier that one of the men who probably had more influence on what we call today outdoors programming on television and everything like that was John Fox. And recently I got a message from John's, I think it's a cousin or a nephew, Richard Cushing, saying that John had passed away back in late March. And I said, well, let's work something out on this because the man himself grew up here in Memphis. I mean, his family was from Memphis, and before he retired and moved to Florida. And I said, let's close out today's show with the final segment, kind of memories of the late John Fox. And Bill, who better to join us on the line from Florida? This is a threesome, y'all. Okay, we can't get any more than this. Is Randy, Bill, and Cindy Fox. Good morning, folks.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
All right. Glad to have y'all with us. And as we talk and as I try to distinguish, I can distinguish Cindy's voice, okay? But you two boys are maybe a little hard for me and everything. But we want to talk a little bit about the memory of this man. Golly, what a legend. For those of us that grew up, I've been in Memphis since 67. That's 1967, not 1867. Some people might think, as Bill will say. But John Fox, I mean, you just mention it, and it becomes a memory. I can think of so many things. So let's talk to Randy first. Randy, tell our listeners a little bit about what this man meant, and got a couple of things he did.
Well, just unbelievable to be raised by someone with his attitude and style for life. He always taught us that if you do what you love for a living, you never have to work a day in your life. And we've all led that and have passed that on. And he's just touched so many people because of that.
And how about you, Bill?
Dad did a lot for the sport of bass fishing for certain, and other things. I can remember back in the early 70s, the American Angler magazine,
yes,
their emphasis was to take a kid fishing.
Yes,
to keep kids on the water and in the woods, to keep them out off the streets.
And I think he might have. I know, folks, if you think back, this man was the catch and release. He was the king of that. Now, Ray Scott was in there too, but this man, John Fox, was there and part of the catch and release. And Cindy, from the daughter standpoint, talk about him.
Well, talking about the catch and release program, he did that for the next generation.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
To where
that's okay. I understand. Go ahead, girl.
It's all right, sister.
It's all right. That's part of this. Go ahead, because
he more importantly, he taught us how to love.
Yes.
And because of that, no matter what happens in our life, he taught us to love the Lord.
Yes.
Above all.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's how we make it day to day. But he was awesome. I mean, and my oldest son, just real quick, went to the ICAST show with my father in Orlando.
Okay.
And when Dad saw Bill, when my son saw Bill dance at the end of an aisle with a long row of people waiting for autographs, my son told Dad, he said, "Papa, there's Bill Dan." Well, my dad walked right up behind Bill's shoulder, and my son's embarrassed, hiding behind an end cap because Papa's done cutting line, and he's behind Bill, tapping Bill on the shoulder, and Bill turns around and looks at him and just keeps signing autographs, and Dad says, "You're not going to talk to me?" he said when he realized that it was him, that he threw his chair back and stood up and hugged my daddy, and they cried together. And Randall said he came out from behind that end cap like a banty rooster with his chest poked out so big and proud because his papa was loving on Bill Dan.
A lot of people loved on your dad, and as I've read back through some of these career things and the accomplishments and some of the stuff that I had no idea. I mean, the karaoke thing, I didn't know he was still doing that at 90, and I had no idea on some of these other things. And and I think about Elvis, and I think about Roland Martin, and I think about our good friend Jimmy Houston, and all the other things, the NASCAR stuff. I had no idea. This is a convertible division. You hear that, Bill Cooksey? He was in the NASCAR convertible division. I mean.
I was reading that earlier.
Yes, and so the full life.
And
Randy, he touched so many lives, and the Memphis connection here still lives on, doesn't it? I mean, don't y'all have some folks in West Tennessee that are still in this area?
Absolutely.
Yes.
A lot of family there, yeah.
And Jackson, Humboldt, Memphis, Greenfield, that whole area was and still is.
Well, I know when I read this thing, John Fox, the man, the myth, the legend. I don't think there's any myths in there. I mean, I think that the legend and the man are part of this thing. And when Taboo, he was still active, wasn't he? Until
listen, the week before he passed away,
yes,
he was singing karaoke, and his last song was "At Last." Come on.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Singing karaoke. Did he? Was he a bass or a baritone? What was he? I don't know. TVs. I would think he was a baritone, but I don't know what he might have been as a singer. Or did he even know?
I don't. I mean, he was a myriad of all of them.
He was, wasn't he?
He was amazing. He had a following. People went everywhere he went. They were there to listen to him sing. He was amazing.
And the
story. All of the Foxes sing.
Yes, we all sing. He taught us that too.
Really?
And how to dance, and how to fish, and hunt.
All of y'all. There were how many kids now? There were 6.
There was a total of 6.
Total of 6, and the 5 still living. Is that right, or
no, sir? We have 4 still living. Our sister is there in Tennessee as well. That's Debbie.
Okay, so there's 4 of y'all still living and everything. What was it like growing up around the? I mean, when your dad was like this, did y'all realize how big he was?
Well, to us, it was just regular day life when we'd have a famous celebrity or a football player or, somebody in the house, in the living room,
Staying on the couch.
Yeah, it was just part of life to us. Now, looking back, I wish I'd have known what I know now.
Yeah, I mean.
At least got more autographs.
You would have got more autographs because I know his connection here in Memphis. It helped living in the city that Elvis was part of us, and I still think Elvis still works at the Burger King on 3rd Street right now. I think I've seen him. I think I've seen him a couple of times. It looks like we're talking about the late and the great John Fox, and we're privileged to have on Outdoors with Larry Ray today 3 of John's children, Randy, Bill, and Cindy. And I know, Bill, you got to slip out of here in just a minute, and I wish we had more time. But I plan to write something, folks, if everything goes right for the commercial appeal a week from Sunday. But talk about John growing up in that household. I mean, Bill, talk about growing up in the household, knowing your dad was John Fox.
And the pigs.
Yeah.
Well, my earliest memories, of course, and I'm really the only one of the 6 children that was passionate about the outdoors. If I didn't get to go with Dad, Mom would have a fit when he got home.
Yes, yeah.
So he literally had to slip out of the house to not let me know that he was going hunting and fishing.
Well,
but anyway, I wanted to mention, we were talking about it a while ago, we had a pool in our yard when we lived in East Texas. And, Dad always said the greatest 2 days of his life was the day he bought the house and the day he sold that house. But I remember what I would have been putting chemicals in it And when he'd go to Sam Rayburn or Toledo Bend, putting chemicals in it, and when he'd go to Sam Rayburn or Toledo Bend, he'd catch those fish and he'd bring them to the pool.
He put them in the pool?
My backyard was one of the most popular backyards in Lufkin, Texas. It was
algaed over with brush thrown in it.
Frogs and brim, catfish. And
was he testing fishing lures? Because I know he was a man.
That's where I'm going with this. That's where the original worm, the sickle-tail worm was designed in that pool. The first fish that ever bit that was in that pool.
In that pool.
He also designed the original balsa bee, the Bagley balsa bee, the original, balsa bait.
You hear that, Bill Cooksey? You hear that, Bill?
Early 70s.
Absolutely. Legendary bait.
And this, of course, we've only got a couple of minutes. I wish we had more time, but, folks, I want to try the best I can. But, of course, in 1994, International Fishing Hall of Fame inductee. National spokesperson with Wilford Brimley and Richard Petty, U.S. Bass World Championship, ESPN TV celebrity host of the John Fox Outdoors Adventure in the 80s, the first fishing and hunting show on ESPN in 19. Google it. Read the obituary. Read the information. Google it. Read the obituary. Read the information about this man, and he never lost touch of where his roots were. Right here in Memphis. That's so much a part of the story. I wish we had more time, folks. Y'all were really good. God bless you. Thanks for the legacy. Your dad, I know he ran around with the late Henry Reynolds here, who was the outdoor editor of the Commercial Appeal before me. Oh. And John knew Henry, and Henry was the outdoor editor for 44 years. I thought he would never quit.
Wow!
And I heard so many stories about John Fox. If you get a chance, look through the old Memphis papers back in the late 50s and early 60s about him going over to the White River in Arkansas and catching, the big alligator gar over there. He was one of the first people that. I've already seen that. Yes, there's so many stories about this guy, y'all, and. So great. Thank you all for being with us on Outdoors with Larry Ray. And
thank you, Larry.
Prayers with you and your family. But gone but not forgotten. I can tell you all that.
Thank you so much. And y'all have a great Saturday.
All right. Thank y'all. Be careful.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, Bill.
Good stuff.
What a lifetime. 91 years old. I think that's what they said when he passed away in March. Bill, thank you for being with me, man. Appreciate you. Let me talk about next week's show. Kevin Hunt's going to be on talking about Major League Fishing's new U.S. Army high school fishing. We'll talk Little Red River with guide Jay Gutermuth and Lindsay's Resorts GM Lindsay White. And get this, Bill, we're going to talk to Jim Casimus, who recently set a world record for the quickest completion of the NWTF Grand Slam, killing 4 birds on film and streamed live to raise money for the National Wild Turkey Federation. Bill, he did it in less than 45 hours.
That's just logistically mind-boggling.
We're going to talk to him.
You have to go to South Florida and, of course, then out west for Rios and Miriam's. And
he did it. He did it. He flew. We're going to talk to him next week, and I know, Bill, that's just crazy. So anyway, Bill, again, thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you later. Stay in touch, and as we do on every show, it doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. And what else, Bill?